It's 2 p.m., and it hits you like a wall. Just an hour ago, you were sharp. Now, the words on your screen blur together. You read the same sentence 3 times. Your brain feels like it's wading through wet cement. So what do? You reach for the obvious rescue. A coffee. Something sugary. Maybe a quick scroll to reset. And 20 minutes later, you're even worse. Here's what almost nobody understands. That afternoon crash isn't because you're getting older. It's not because you worked too hard. It's not a character flaw. It's chemistry. Specifically, you've been draining your dopamine and letting a chemical called adenosine come roaring back all morning long. And the way most people try to fix it just digs the hole deeper. So let me show you exactly what's happening inside your brain at 2 p.m. and the 3 protocols that erase the crash entirely. Let's start with dopamine, because it's misunderstood. Dopamine isn't the pleasure chemical, it's the molecule of motivation, drive, the force that makes you want to start and keep going. And here's the key. Your dopamine runs on a baseline, a resting level that determines how motivated you feel by default. When something rewarding happens, dopamine spikes above that baseline. That's a peak. It feels great. But there's a catch nobody tells you. After every peak, dopamine doesn't just return to baseline. It dips below it, into a trough. A small peak, a small dip. No big deal. But a huge, fast, artificial peak? That's followed by a deep, lasting trough, where nothing feels motivating and focus feels impossible. Now think about how you spend your morning. This is where it gets uncomfortable. You check your phone. You switch between tabs. A notification pulls you away. You've got music in one ear and a podcast half playing in the background. Every one of those is a tiny hit of cheap, fast dopamine. And each little hit spikes you up, then drops you a little lower than before. Do that for 4 hours straight, and by early afternoon, your baseline has sunk into the floor. That's not tiredness. That's a dopamine trough you dug yourself, one swipe at a time. And here's where it compounds. Remember adenosine, the sleepiness chemical from the first episode? It's been building all morning too. If you drank your coffee early, you blocked it, temporarily. But caffeine wears off. And when it does, all that backed up adenosine floods your brain at once, right around 2 p.m. Low dopamine, rebounding adenosine, both hitting at the same moment. That's your crash. Not a mystery, a collision. One you set up hours earlier.
Now let's expose the 3 habits quietly making it worse. These feel productive. They're the opposite. Killer 1. Dopamine stacking. This is when you pile stimulation on top of stimulation. Music, plus a podcast, plus your work, plus constant caffeine, all at once. It feels like you're doing more, but you're teaching your brain that plain, focused work isn't stimulating enough on its own. You're propping up your attention with layers of noise, and splitting it in the process. The moment you remove the noise, the work feels unbearably boring. Because you've raised the bar so high, nothing normal clears it. Killer 2. The heavy, high-carb lunch. You know the feeling. A big pasta, a sandwich, fries, and 30 minutes later, your eyelids are made of lead. There's a real mechanism here. A large spike in blood sugar quiets down a group of neurons that keep you awake and alert, the ones that run on stability, not sugar rushes. Scientists call this postprandial somnolence. You didn't get tired from working. You ate your way into a nap you couldn't take. Killer 3. Never closing the loops. Your brain is holding dozens of unfinished threads, unanswered messages, half-read articles, that thing you meant to do at 11. Every open loop quietly drains attention in the background. And because you're always consuming, a screen in every spare second, your brain never gets a single moment of low input to reset. It never enters deep rest while awake, so the pressure just builds all day with no release valve. 3 killers, all disguised as productivity. So here's how you flip every one of them. 3 protocols. Do them, and 2 p.m. stops being the hour your brain quits. Protocol 1. 10 minutes of non-sleep, deep rest. This is the closest thing to a reset button your brain has. NSDR, also known as Yoga Nidra, is a short, guided practice where you lie down, stay awake, and let your body drop into deep stillness. It sounds simple, but one well-known brain imaging study found a significant rise in dopamine during this kind of deep rest, meaning you're not just relaxing, you're actively refilling the tank. 10 minutes, right around your afternoon dip. Search NSDR or Yoga Nidra, press play, and let it do the work. You'll come out sharper than any coffee could make you. Protocol 2. Guard your focus blocks from cheap dopamine. When it's time for real work, strip the stimulation. Phone in another room, no background video, no podcast layered under the task. At first, the work will feel boring. That's your baseline recalibrating. Push through it. Within days, the task itself becomes the reward again, and your focus comes back with teeth. You're not adding willpower. You're removing the things that were stealing it. Protocol 3. A midday light and movement reset. Around lunch, get outside and move, even for 10 minutes. Daylight re-anchors your internal clock and lifts alertness. Movement boosts the very chemicals that drive focus and mood. Together, they blunt the afternoon dip before it arrives. A 10-minute walk in real sunlight beats a third cup of coffee every single time, with no crash on the other side. NSDR. Protected focus, light and movement. Stack these, and the wall at 2 p.m. simply stops showing up. So here's the shift. Your focus was never the problem. It was being drained, spike by spike, loop by loop, and then buried under the exact fixes that made it worse. Protect your dopamine. Close your loops. Give your brain real rest and real light. Do that, and afternoon you starts matching morning you. Quick note before you go. This is educational, based on the research, not personalized medical advice. If the fog is heavy and constant no matter what you try, that's worth raising with a doctor. This is the Energy Lab, where we turn the science of human performance into things you can actually use. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.